Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Fan Art Friday. This week I'm working on a drawing of REAPER from Overwatch, and REAPER is such an awesomely designed character that I just couldn't resist trying some fan art at some point, so that's what's happening in this week's video. And I just want to say thanks again for leaving all of your drawing suggestions in the comments. It means a lot, and I always find new ideas every single week from the comments you leave. So thank you again. I look forward to seeing what you suggest in this week's video. For the initial outlines of this drawing, I started off by working with a 0.5mm Sepia coloured Copic Marker. This is the pen that I really kind of default to using for the initial outlines of my drawings recently. Just for that extra control, and because when I add Copic Markers over the top it doesn't bleed. I've been having trouble with that with some pens recently, and these 0.05mm multi-liner pens just don't bleed at all, which really helps in this kind of situation. I also actually decided that in this drawing I wasn't going to have a comic panel, and instead I was going to rely on the outlines of REAPER's hood to kind of work as an outline itself. So I tried to shape that up a little bit, tried to add some ragged edges to some of the hood, tried to add some cool angles, and hopefully that worked out. I also wanted to add some smoke rising. I thought this would be a nice feature, and it would kind of symbolise the smoke rising from REAPER's guns. After all that was done, it was time to move on to the colouring, and for the colouring of this drawing, as usual, I used Copic Markers, starting off with working on REAPER's mask. For this, I used a mixture of warm grey 1, 3 and 5 for the main colouring, underneath REAPER's eyebrows, underneath the chin and those kind of areas with using the warm grey 5, and then blending outwards with the warm grey 3 and warm grey 1 and so on. Just kind of building up the layers at first and then adding extra details over the top. This is obviously the main feature of the drawing, so I wanted to focus most of the attention and most of the details to the mask. I also made sure to add some damage to the mask, adding some cracks to the forehead, to the cheek and to the jaw. I feel like this was a really nice effect, especially when adding some shading underneath the cracks and then adding some highlighting over the top of that. To add some extra shading to some of the details on the mask, I did use Cool Grey 3 and Cool Grey 1. Adding a bit of cooler shading, especially at the top of the mask and underneath the eyebrows. In this drawing I also decided that I wanted to have a red glow kind of hitting the left side of REAPER's mask. For this I used a crimson marker and then used a pure pink marker to blend it outwards and kind of add the kind of faded colouring going towards the right side of the drawing. I felt like this would be a warm glow that's coming from the red smoke that I'm going to add later on. And for the panel on the right side of REAPER's mask, I used a Cool Grey 7 and Cool Grey 5, making sure to leave some highlighted areas and also using the highlighter pen to add some extra highlights along the ridges. Once that was done, it was time to move on to adding the dark colouring to REAPER's hood. For this, I used a mixture of Cool Grey 7 and 5 and 3, mainly using the Cool Grey 7, especially for the inside of the hood, starting off actually using a black Copic marker to add the darkest shading towards the top of the head and underneath the jaw, and then blending outwards with the Cool Grey 7. I followed the same process actually for the outer side of the hood as well, actually using the Cool Grey 5 as the main colour for this section as it's a little bit lighter, and then kind of phasing the colouring outwards towards the right side of the drawing, eventually using the Cool Grey 3 and the highlighter pen to just add a kind of border along the right side of the drawing. On the outside of the drawing I decided to have some really dark ridges going downwards in the folds in the fabric. I kind of exaggerated them for this drawing. I wanted it to be a bit more stylized and have some high contrast to just go along with the theme of this drawing with the smoke rising as well. And hopefully that worked out in the end. Let me know what you think. I also made sure to use the pure pink marker to add some of that glow from the smoke on kind of the inside of REAPER's hood. Once those details were completed, I then used the crimson marker to colour in all of the smoke. That was really fun to just finally see the effect it gave. To add some extra details to the smoke, I used the highlighter pen again to just kind of add some highlighting around the outer edges and to add some ridges in the smoke and kind of going along with that stylized theme that I mentioned before. And when that was done, it was time to just add some of the final details, using the black Copic multiliner to add some outlining around the outer edges, just making sure to add all those kind of ripped edges along the hood that I wanted to keep, adding some of the folds in the fabric, and then also making sure to add any extra highlights with the highlighter pen. After that, the drawing was completed, and overall it took about 3.5, maybe 4 hours to complete. It was really fun to work on. It was one that I really wanted to work on, especially with REAPER just being such an awesomely designed character. Please let me know what you think of this drawing in the comments below, and if you have any more suggestions for future drawing videos, then please let me know in the comments as well. I love reading through all of them, and it really helps me out. If you enjoy drawing videos, then make sure you're subscribed, and any likes or shares on this video are hugely appreciated. It means so much to me. And if you want to follow along with any of the progress photos that I post throughout the week, then be sure to check out the links in the description box below to check out my Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. And once again, thank you so much for the support on this channel. I really can't wait to work on some more. I've written down a bunch of ideas recently, and there's lots of ideas I want to work on for the future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.